Hey guys, we're back again. Today we're going to be joined by Paige with SFY.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
What's up, guys? We're back. Today we're joined by Paige with SFY. We've got tacos and she's got a ton of great information for us. Paige, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Hey, we're excited. We've been talking here for a little bit before we went live. I gotta say I'm jealous of your tacos. I've got some good breakfast tacos here, but
Yeah.
what are you enjoying over there for in Colorado with tacos?
Yeah, I got shrimp tacos.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
tacos.
Yeah, you definitely went up to me. I do have my mystery sauce here ready. It looks a little spicy today. Actually looks pretty good though, so I'm excited for that. I'm gonna go ahead and get some sauce on these tacos, Paige. And while I'm doing that, why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about your background in the industry and kind of how you landed with SFY, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah, perfect. So I actually don't have necessarily a huge background in roofing. I came into like this industry with SFY. So came in quite the noob. My kind of experience, my dad's a contractor and my stepdad's a landscaper. So I grew up like taping windows and digging holes and like on job sites, but that was probably the extent I had. And really just love business. Business was kind of like the direction I was headed in life, and had worked for nonprofits and other businesses, and just kind of fell into this position and really loved the company and the way that their company runs, and their just kind of how they handle their like culture. Even I just hadn't seen a company do that, and so that was kind of why it was so attractive about SFY. And then as I started in the industry, just realized I loved being able to golf and eat burgers, wear blue jeans. I was like, this is my industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we just got back from Vegas, had a great time in Vegas. Why don't you maybe tell everybody that's not familiar with SFY what SFY does, and then maybe kind of what your day-to-day in the company looks like?
Yeah, perfect. So SFY is a supplementing company. We handle everything from start to finish on the claim. So writing exactimates, doing all the supplementing back and forth phone calls with the insurance company, as well as doing even like the money side of things, making sure the check's been released just so you can get paid faster. My role, I'm kind of the person directly in between the roofers and the kind of insurance company. So I make sure the whole entire roofing company comes on well, smoothly. The guys know where to send jobs. I'm kind of the one that answers all the questions, make sure everyone knows what they should be doing, where they should be sending stuff. So I'm in kind of half business marketing, half sales, and just get to do a lot of client relations, which I just love people. So it's a good fit for me and the company.
You bet. So, in talking with you, and I'm pretty familiar, obviously, with SFY. You spend a lot of time with the owners of companies. And what would you kind of say are some of the bigger complaints or areas where maybe owners are struggling, kind of overall?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You're gonna like the answer to this. Probably one of the two biggest complaints. One of them is their guys don't take photos, or they don't ever get the photos that their guys take, which I hear quite a bit. The second one is, I think the biggest issue I see from like an outsider perspective is delegation in general. It's like pretty common that I'm in an office with someone and they're either wearing like 15 hats doing all the roles themselves, which is like impossible to function in storm season, or there's just like huge gaps that need to be filled but that just kind of haven't been filled. Like their assistant is also doing supplementing but doesn't know how to supplement, but that's just like kind of the role she's in. She's just in like the filler role position. So that's where I think, yeah, those are definitely the biggest issues I see pretty commonly.
You bet. So we'll talk about CompanyCam a little more maybe after our break here, but let's dive into the delegation a little bit. And when I talk to contractors about hiring that third party supplementer, bringing SFY into the mix, would you almost consider yourselves an extended employee of that company?
Yeah, that's exactly how we describe ourselves. So we're obviously third party, but our ideal situation is that we're an extension in partnership with your company. So whatever company we'd be working for, we're just the claims department for them. We do everything under their letterhead. So it just helps the process be more seamless for the homeowner when they get their paperwork, for the insurance company when they're dealing with us, as well as just for you, just to kind of have more of a unified front when you're explaining our role or what your company offers to the homeowner.
You bet. So, do you find that most companies have somebody that they at least say is in charge of supplementing, or is that usually the owner in a lot of cases?
So a lot of the time it's the owner, or they say like we have an in-house team, which means that their sales guys supplement, which is fine.
Mhm.
I know some amazing supplementers that also sell. And I think the people who
Absolutely.
have mastered like the balance of that, that's more power to you. But I think most people don't necessarily have the time in the day to be selling or managing or owning and then also doing supplements because they are so tedious and time consuming. So this it's something that can be easily delegated because it's something that necessarily you don't have to do. If you're documenting stuff well, you don't have to supplement and you can have experts handle that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing that I think is interesting is, if I've got a sales guy and he's a rock star sales guy, even if he's a rock star at supplementing, if I'm having him supplement, and there's only so many hours in the day,
Yeah.
that's hours that he's not selling. Is it something that you guys at SFY are willing to help the company kind of understand maybe the framework or the basics of what goes into supplementing, what's needed to make that handoff even easier, more efficient?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a ton of in-house trainings. We can do virtual trainings. So we can help. I mean, if you were to come on, we can help you understand how to use our system, who to call, what to do, as well as we can do extended trainings that are the best photos to take on the job, how to prepare your homeowner for supplements. So our real goal outside of obviously being a business and being successful is overall education. So we understand that if people in the industry are more educated on what to be doing, how to deal with adjusters, then it's a win for all of us because they're all pushing the same arguments, they're all documenting correctly, and even if they're not directly working with us, they're now more educated on doing something correctly, and it sets a standard for the whole entire industry. So we're really big on education, and especially for our clients that are using us directly, but even in house our team trains 5 days a week. So we run rebuttals every morning, we do trainings, updated code trainings, we track and record our phone calls, listen to successful ones and ones that we maybe could have done better on. So we really do a big job on prioritizing it internally and then kind of pushing that outward.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, that those are great answers. I know you kind of hit on the photos to take. You've mentioned that a few times. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to grab some water here, and we'll come back and we'll kind of talk about, how to know what photos to take and some of those things.
Perfect.
Let's talk about it.
Hey guys, remember if you have questions, we want to hear from you. Either comment below or email us marketing@companycam.com, and the last week we'll get those questions answered. Anyone that does submit a question, remember you have a chance to win one of these custom Talk About It hot sauces.
Let's talk about it.
Hey guys, we're back. Paige, SFY. Awesome stuff so far, Paige. Let's dive a little bit deeper. You've mentioned it a few times about knowing the photos and kind of training to the photos. Uh, how important are taking the right photos on jobs in terms of getting that claim paid?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think maybe I've mentioned it so much because it's a conversation I'm having a lot these days. But it's one of the most important things you can do in the supplementing process. Like good documentation not only helps whether you have an in-house team, your guys are doing it, or you're using an outsourced. It helps them know what's actually going on with the job, but it's also a huge like ticket item. So let's say on average you'll increase about $2,000 more for taking the correct photos on the job. And that's just our experience with we have some clients who take 5 and our average goal is like 150. And so we can see the difference of our clients that are consistently hitting those high percentages every job, and it comes from good documentation.
Yeah, absolutely. And, no matter who you're talking to, public adjusters, they love Company Cam because of the ease of the photos,
Yeah.
uh, supplementing. And I know that's kind of where our relationship was born was just making that communication or bridging that communication gap from the contractor to you guys so that it's really seamless. It's not adding anything to the sales guy's job or the crew doing the installations job. As far as photos go, how do you know which ones to take? Do you guys have anything that you can provide, trainings, checklists, anything like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I mentioned, we do trainings for our clients earlier. We also have a photo checklist, which is super easy to use. And that just allows you kind of go through like a general list of photos that you would see on, obviously you're not going to get them on every job, but just to checklist the photos that are available on that list on the job. And our ideal situation is you take those photos up front. So when you sign the client, you get the contract, the photos are already taken. So by the time we're even on the phone with the insurance adjuster, we feel confident we have all the information that we need. Obviously, there's some production photos in there, or things that come up once the tear off starts, but those are pretty small in comparison to the photos we'd like up front. And that's another reason I pitched CompanyCam so like heavily, is because those production photos. So it's easy to get the photos when you're selling and you're on the job. I mean, easy, but when it comes down to getting the production photos from the crew, an app like CompanyCam's an asset because you can have your crew members have a login on CompanyCam. It'll geolocate based on address. So that's just a great way to make sure that you're getting those photos, which are the big ticket items.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the photo checklist. If that's something you guys are watching and you're interested in, comment below or shoot us an email at marketing@companycam.com. We'll make sure we get that over to them, Paige, so that they can use that. I would suggest reaching out, connecting with Paige and the team, and just get them on staff. And that's something I think that a lot of contractors maybe mistake is they say, we're fine now. We haven't had a storm for a while. Would you almost say you guys are like that overflow catcher so that, there's not a storm in Oklahoma City. There wasn't one for 4 years. And then this year, I think they've had 2 or 3 pretty solid hailstorms.
Yeah.
You guys can then kind of help catch all of that extra that their bucket's already full. Is that kind of your guys' role, whether there's work or not work, just, keeping you guys on speed dial?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is definitely company to company, but my advice is always get set up with us before storm season, before things get hectic. There's no onboarding fee. There's no month-to-month fee. There's no maximums or minimums. So signing up with us and having us set up as a backup plan, if overflow is your direction with us, it's a no-brainer because you're onboarded in slow season. You're not in the middle of a storm season trying to train your whole team how to submit jobs to us. And it's relatively easy, but it's a lot easier when it's just done when no one's like stressed out of their minds. But it really just depends company to company. Some of clients use us to handle all their supplements, like you were talking about before. If your sales guy's a good sales guy, he shouldn't be wasting time 30 minutes on hold with an insurance company, or should just be investing. That's what delegation comes back to. So I think most companies use us just to totally delegate out supplementing in general so that they can kind of focus their energy on their strengths or priorities. But if you are going to use us as an overflow option, I definitely advise getting set up sooner than later.
For sure. Can a contractor get their estimates done through you guys as well, or do you just do the supplementing on the back end?
Yeah, so we do Xactimate onlys as well. So we can do that for you. Absolutely. And we do commercial Xactimates. So we kind of offer like a wide service, but that's what's nice having us on staff. Whatever your need is, you can reach out to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there are jobs like I'm sure all contractors wish there was more jobs where supplementing maybe isn't necessary. Having you guys on staff, I'm sure you can even just give advice and say, hey, we could supplement this one, but the amount of money that we can get by supplementing it, it's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it. So,
yeah. A lot. So that's the cool thing. I mean, we have a guarantee. So if we don't hit $500, we'll finish the file out for free. So you're literally never paying out of pocket for a job that isn't successful for you. And then if you were to send us a job, we write an Xactimate for it, and it doesn't seem like a worthwhile investment, we would just call you and be like, hey, this isn't worth your time. This is probably a better bet for either to do in-house or to do yourself, because you're going to pay like our minimum on this for something that maybe isn't worth it. Same way if we look at it and we're like, hey, this is probably worth taking to a PA like this. And we'll work a file up to a point and then we'll be like, pass this on to a public adjuster because we've done all that we can. So we're really about long-term partnership. We want to see you be successful. And if that means sending you somewhere else or giving it back to you so that you can be more successful, then we'll always prioritize that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great answer, and I think that's so important too for contractors to understand. I think a lot of times they hear third party supplementer and they almost feel like I have to send everything there. They're going to take eat up all my profits. You've mentioned a few times, but let's really drive it home. What do you guys kind of see as far as like averages on increases of file sizes and those kind of things on your supplements that you do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a little bit hard to track I'm like a numbers girl, but it's kind of hard to track numbers in this industry because there's so many like variables, like the adjuster's mood or a storm in another state that's affecting your state. So it's a little bit hard to kind of get those specifics. If you're in one of the main storm states, I would like to say your average is going to be anywhere between 4,800 to 5,000. That's kind of what we're seeing right now. If you're in a state which is like Texas, Colorado, those large states, and part of those numbers is we do every job. So we do all the way from small jobs to large jobs, and that obviously affects the variable a little bit. If you're looking at like the states that aren't as commonly hit with hail, you're closer to like the 4,000 mark. So it is just dependent, but it is a little bit hard to give like an accurate statistic because there's just so many other like we can have a house on the same street, same insurance company. It's like almost same damage, and one house will get overhead and profit and one won't, or one house and that's just comes down to the adjuster, even if we're doing the same practices and training on our side.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, significant increases. And yes, you've mentioned a few times how you train the contractor to get you the files and get you the complete files easily, seamless, efficiently. So basically, you're getting all of that with no increase. There's no labor. It's just paying the fees that you guys have on your end.
Yeah, it's like 37 people on staff, and like instead of hiring someone in-house, they're bringing 37 people on staff who are experts, are training every day, always getting new knowledge, but without any of the hassle. And I think the benefit of using a company like ours isn't necessarily, obviously it's increased, but it's really time. Like even touching back to delegation, if you're spending your time on hold, but you're what should be making whatever 100 an hour, we pay people $10 an hour to sit on hold. So it's just figuring out like where your time should be invested, and if where you're investing your time is actually beneficial for like the growth of your company or the growth of your sales for that year as a sales guy. So I think the benefit is really freeing up your time so you can either sell more or grow, and then delegating to someone you trust that wants partnership with you long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that I can truly say is you guys are great to work with. Yourself, Greg, just the relationship we have with CompanyCam business to business is a great relationship with you guys. So yeah, contractors, if you're on the fence, if you're considering it, you've mentioned Paige, it's no cost.
Yeah.
Reach out to them, connect with them. If nothing else, learn. Greg has a lot of background in the industry, knows a lot of good things. Obviously, Paige, when you're in the supplementing world, you learn a lot of that stuff fast as well.
Of course.
And so, just reach out to these guys, soak up the knowledge. Paige, do you have any, just overall advice for these contractors? Because like you said, the ones you work with, maybe you're having a tough time delegating. And I see it all the time as well. That's whether it's marketing, supplementing, even doing the roofing, I think that was probably the first place where contractors said, we can sub this out a lot easier than trying to have all of these crews in-house. Do you have any advice to maybe help get them over that hurdle of reaching out to a supplementing third party or even reaching out to a marketing third party that might help them?
Yeah, I would say probably have a plan. That's like my personal goal in life was just getting to the point of being like, okay, where am I investing my time? And actually sitting down with a calendar and like writing out my days. Like, I'm like, what are my big priorities? Like family, like taking care of myself, like self-care, like those things that just have to happen for like everything else in my life to kind of outflow. So I started, and this is like 7 habits of highly successful people, basics, but just figuring out like your big boulders and then putting in your smaller things and then realizing, okay, what else do I have space for? And then once you've made this priority list, you can say, what can I delegate out? What can I pass on? And then you don't get to the end of your week and feel like, wow, I got all the stuff done, but I didn't get time to see my kids, or I didn't get time to take care of myself. And then you're 3 weeks in just like totally burnt out and your storm season just started. So, I schedule like I'm going to go on a walk. Like I schedule the things that I know are life-giving for me because I've taken the time to sit down and figure out what's life-giving and figure out what I need to be successful in all the areas of my life. So I think that's something that should just be happening, is like making a plan for yourself, for your family, for your season, and then making sure that those big pillars are happening before you're filling in those spaces with things that can maybe be passed on. So whatever that looks like for you. I mean, there's a journal I use called Self-Care, or Self-Co, and it's just like a 90-day goal journal. So if you want to do something like that, or just sit down and figure out where your priorities are, that's the people I see that are most successful right now are people that have a plan, they follow it closely. So
Yeah, no, I think that's a great answer. I think a lot of it is, the blood, the sweat that they put into the business.
yeah,
And you care a ton about it. That makes sense. And it's almost like a part of you that you're like, I don't want to give this part out, especially to a third party that they're not my employee. But I think that if you see like SFY or a marketing company, obviously vet them out. We wouldn't have SFY on if they weren't a great one, but vet the third parties out and trust them. Basically treat them as if they're your employees, contractors. I think you're gonna find that it's a huge win for you. Yeah, Paige. So we're kind of running to the end of the episode here. I really appreciate your time. Do you have any, just final thoughts or suggestions for contractors? We're kind of wrapping up. We're towards the tail end of storm season, but there's still a ton of work out there that needs to be sold. Any suggestions for the contractors to, go out there and win those last few jobs?
yeah, just go out and use your time wisely and crush the last couple minutes you have, and then don't be afraid to like put something in practice now, even if it feels late. I think it's easy to be like, oh, well, it's already kind of too late. I've already done it this way, which I hear so many times. Like
Yeah.
I'll talk to people from last season that come to me this season, and last season, like, oh, it's too late. And I'm like, it's just not. Like it's never too late to make a change, and change is always uncomfortable. Transition is always uncomfortable, but it's what gives you like longevity in the industry or in anything you put your time to. So yeah, I'd say don't be afraid to make change.
Absolutely great advice. Go talk with Paige and SFY. If you're new to CompanyCam, grab that at the same time. It's going to be two great decisions you make this year. Don't wait till the off season. And Paige, again, thanks for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you here at the shows coming up in the next few months.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Let's talk about it.